Oh, that's right. I think I've done it this morning. I think I've done it. I'm live on the radio. Check, check, check. Live on Facebook. Check, check, check. And I have the mic turned on. We have a trifecta here today, folks. That's right. All right, we got a lot to talk about here this morning. I did want to talk a little bit about, they had a debate last night over there in Calhoun Falls for the mayoral forum last night, and it was called Meet the Mayoral Candidates. They had council members Lacine Monique Tutt, Vigo Lanson, and Wayne Postel took questions from a moderator. The current mayor, Tarico Holland, who is not on the ballot, attended and confirmed he will run as a write-in in November. You may remember maybe a week or so ago, he said that he was running, although not officially, but as a write-in candidate, and he said he would win, which at the time kind of gave me a little pause as to what he was meaning with all the things that has happened. Anyways, the top issues, the state scrutiny and lawsuits. The town remains under a SLED investigation stemming from a state audit that flagged high risk for fraud during Holland's tenure. The town also faces a $400,000 lawsuit from the city of Abbeville over the water service. And then there's $690,000 lease purchase allegation that Lawson said the mayor signed a $690,000 lease purchase agreement without council approval, an allegation raised during the forum. Water system and revenue losses. Candidates focused on bad absent meter reads and leaks. 822 meters townwide, with 332 failing each month and 150 not reporting, costing an estimated $7,364 a month in lost revenue. All three framed meter fixes and leak repairs as the quickest way to stabilize finances. You know, they've had police chief resignations, and after the recent police department resignations, including the chief, candidates discussed restoring 24/7 coverage, which is a legal requirement for a municipality, by hiring 2 to 4 additional certified officers and improving retention. You know, I think it's hard. If you don't have the money, it's hard to have the stability where somebody is going to want to work for you, whether it is as a police officer or even working in the office. But this is one of the things that they said. The mayoral election is November 4th. Candidates on the ballot, Tutt, Lassen, and Postel. Holland, of course, is going to write this write-in campaign. The only thing that gives me pause about everything is the fact that he said he would win. And so that really bothers me. How could he be so sure? Write-in candidates, of course, don't have as much ability to get elected as those that are on the ballot, because people go in, they mark a ballot, they walk out. Writing somebody's name in is more difficult. So I don't know what was meant about that, but they certainly, I'm telling you what, kudos to these people that are running to be the mayor of Calhoun Falls in such a situation. Would you want to take over as the mayor? Heck no. Part of the problem also is the fact that they, like so many small towns, the mayor is the person who is the administration and the mayor. Unlike Greenwood, that has a city council and an administration, city administrator, which in our case here in Greenwood is Julie Wilkie, and she she reports to council, but she runs the city. And so without this as a way of doing things, it becomes very difficult. But I did want to update you on that. They did have a debate of sorts. That's about the most information that I can find out about it, as I was not present, but I'm sure somebody from the Index Journal was there for this event. All right, moving on. What else is in the news? Remember, if you want to weigh in on anything, 864-332-9355. You can call or text. If you make a telephone call, it converts it to a text, which allows me to see it. So that's a good thing. You can be part of the conversation just through texting, but you can do it as a telephone call, and then through the service, it converts it to a text, so I get to see it. It's just so cool. All right. So now, what else do we have going on here? What about the peace agreement with Netanyahu? Was here yesterday. He and President Trump met and had quite a discussion. Came out afterwards and announced that they had come to an agreement that Netanyahu would support President Trump's, or the United States of America's, 20-point peace initiative agreement. However, they said that's a 20-point plan, quick hostage release. I think that's supposed to be within 72 hours after Hamas accepts, if they accept. That's the question right now. But all the hostages, including the bodies, would be released. Phased Israel withdrawal with security carve-outs. Hamas disarmament and an international transitional board, names that have been talked about and which President Trump talked about yesterday, was him and even Tony Blair from England, the prime minister over there on the board. Israel says yes to accepting it. Hamas has not agreed. They're reviewing the proposal, and fighting in Gaza continues. So it's not a done deal, and it really is in the hands of Hamas. What do you think about this fact? Do you think it's going to happen? 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. You got to give, regardless of how you feel about President Trump, you have got to give him credit for persisting in this, You know, it just, he could have washed his hands from it, but he has persisted in this. He now has Netanyahu on his side. He also has said that if Hamas does not support this agreement, then he will wholeheartedly support Israel going in and, quote, finishing the job. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's going to happen? First off, do you think it's going to happen? Here's what I think. I think Hamas probably will agree with it, but won't follow through with it. What do you think? What do you think about that? 864-332-9355. I think that Hamas will agree with it and will try to ink out some extra time before they release the hostages, giving them more time to be in position of where they're at. You know, one of the things that I didn't have on my topics here for today, but where Iran is in making those nuclear bombs. They say, what did I read? They need some component to finish it up. They're saying to finish up the ability to have their nuclear facility back working. Evidently, and I'm not doing this from any knowledge, I'm just saying what I have heard is evidently they have been working furiously to get that nuclear bomb plant back online, and which leads one to wonder, where is that Iran-Hamas relationship? Now, Iran is saying that, of course, they need it for nuclear energy, that they're not going to be building a bomb, but do you trust them? Heck no. Heck no. So somehow I just think that Iran standing in the background might still be part of it. But I don't know. But this is what I'm thinking. 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. If you'd like to weigh in on what's going on, then we would love, of course, to hear from you. 864-332-9355. Do you think that this peace deal will come to pass? Do you think that this peace deal, this peace deal, Ann, will come to pass? That's what we want to know. All right. Well, that's one topic. That was actually very big. Interesting to note that Trump or Netanyahu did not take any, did not have a press conference afterwards, simply because they said until Hamas agrees, there is no sense in talking about it. So that was, I thought, most interesting too. All right, moving on to other topics of interest. I hope they're of interest. Shutdown on the government. The government is headed for a shutdown. You know, I don't understand the Democrats. If you don't have the power, right? How do you constantly demand and then say it's your fault because you're not going along with what I want? Now, if the Democrats were in charge, I could see how they could be trying to pull the Republicans along. But they're not. They're not. In fact, the House is not even in session. They're not coming back. Maybe, is it next week? I think they might be coming back. But funding lapses tonight if there's no new bill. Agency are in shutdown prep mode. So they actually have to go to quite a bit to start this shutdown prep. The leaders left the White House without a deal. Key dispute is in healthcare add-ons versus a clean, short, continuing resolution. I just don't get why the Democrats think that they should be adding illegals onto our healthcare system, that was one of their demands, when they can see from the public that immigration is a huge concern and the things that are happening through the Trump administration is being considered a win. So, but that's what they did. They stood there and then they say that if the Trump administration doesn't go along with their demands, then it's their fault, that the government, their fault, the Trump administration's fault, excuse me, if the government shuts down. Now, would you explain to me how this could be true? Excuse me. How can this be true? How can it be the Republicans and President Trump's fault if they don't go along with the Democrats' demands, which are more health care add-ons versus taking a 4-week clean CR, just keep everything as it is, as they try to negotiate the add-ons, the changes that the Democrats want. The Democrats are just saying, hell no, we won't sign. Hell no, we won't sign. I guess that's what they're doing because they are just bound and determined. So House status, they're having a pro forma session at 12 noon today, which means they'll have no votes. And since the breakthrough in the Senate today is very unlikely. See, the House sent that bill over there. They have a clean CR with, I think, November 21st as the deadline to get it all done. A lapse is likely, and they still don't have an agreement. However, if the Senate would vote for it and pass it, guess what? They would avoid a shutdown. But at this point, excuse me, at this point, it's going to be almost like it's going to be on autopilot for the shutdown. Now, I don't know a lot about this, but the Office of Budget and Management, or Management and Budget, is saying for some of these offices to go ahead and set up for permanent layoffs, semi-permanent layoffs. So this could be a real question as to what kind of power the White House has over when they go into the shutdown mode. Will President Trump be able to doge some more of the offices because they have this shutdown going on? Big question about that. All right, so 864-332-9355. I just got another message from the person who sent it yesterday. Actually, this is another person. This is George saying, if they didn't get paid, guess what? They'd get this deal done. Isn't that true? You've got to have incentive. And let me ask you something. Why should the House and the Senate get paid if they're not willing to get the job done and do what we send them there for? 864-332-9355. It's probably not going to make any difference whatever we say, but they voted on it. They made it this way. All right, so that is one part of what we wanted to talk about, the shutdown. Yesterday we were talking about some of the how people here in South Carolina could get help, some of the things and how much it has cost. It's cost a whole lot of money. Helene, last year from September through December of last year, it cost $370 million. Forestry timber losses estimated at $83 million statewide, which include McCormick, which was one of the hardest hit counties, particularly because of the forestry and the timber. If you need help, I said I would get telephone numbers. It's the South Carolina Office of Resilience. The main telephone line, 803-898-2511. That's 803-898-2511. There also is a hotline for the South Carolina Office of Resiliency. It is on fraud and waste, but it's a hotline number, 844-506-5436. That's 844-506-5436. So this is one that is, I think, important to know if you have not gotten the help that you needed. If you need help getting sources and everything, they are available. Tomorrow, down there in Columbia, there's going to be a hearing on this bill, God, my voice, on this bill that is in front of the Senate about the abortion bill, abortion law. The one that we talked about with John McCravey, and it's on our Facebook page. It's also on the website, WCRS 1450 AM. Two entirely different bills. Representative McCravey was talking about the bill that was in the House. The Senate has done their own version. The one in the Senate is very oppressive towards women, health care, etc. So it will be interesting to see how that bill comes out of the Senate after this hearing. One of the things that I really appreciate Representative John McCravey coming on is talking about the differences between the two bills and how they are, that he feels even the Senate bill, when it goes through the process, if it goes to the floor of the Senate, the process that it goes through, the exceptions, the medical conditions, the things that are in there to protect women for being able to have an abortion, that those, he said, will be in there, even though right now in the Senate version, those are not in there. So this hearing that'll be going on tomorrow down there in Columbia, I don't have the time. Probably could find out, but I don't have the time right now. But that will be interesting to see how that works out, but also to see how comparable the two bills become as if they ever get through the House and the Senate. Right now, we have the 6-week heartbeat bill. One of the big differences between the two bills, the one in the Senate, kind of murky about contraceptive, whereas in the House version, the John McCravy's version, there is no question that contraception is a good thing. In vitro fertilization in John McCravy's bill in the House is a good thing. In the Senate, that's under question. So this Senate bill is very harsh. It was actually sponsored by Richard Cash of Anderson with Rex Rice signing on to this bill as a sponsor, and also Senator Billy Garrett signing off to this bill. So we'll see what happens. Those were the sponsors of the bill. We'll see what happens with this hearing. Hopefully we'll get some clarity, and hopefully that they will look at, instead of the bill that they're looking at in the Senate, and or that they meld it into what the Republican bill is, which covers the life of the mother much more, and also is not quite as draconian as the Senate version is. All right, so that's going on tomorrow. Just wanted to mention that. And if you really want to find out more about it, please go ahead and watch Representative John McCravy and we discussed, I think it was last Thursday. Yes, it was last Thursday. We sat down. We had quite an in-depth conversation. I really appreciate Representative John McCravy coming on and being willing to discuss this, because these are important topics, and sometimes our legislators are not as willing to come on and talk about these things. But John is always willing to come on and discuss it. We had a great conversation. That is on our website at WCRS1450am.net. It's also on our Facebook page under videos. If you just go to our Facebook page, WCRS 98.5 FM /1450am, and then look under videos, and you'll see lots of videos there, but look for the one with Meet Me at the Diner, John McCravy, the most recent one. John makes regular appearances on our show. All right, so has anybody got anything to say about anything that I've been talking about here this morning? No, somebody just keeps sending me the message. If they were told they were not going to get paid unless they pass the bill, well, this one says a month before. Somebody else had said 2 months before they'd get the job done. It just seems like a no-brainer. Don't you agree? Don't you agree? All right. We also need to get an update on in South Carolina, what they're doing about the increasing their pay. I'm going to be most interested. I don't think they've had the hearing on that yet. That was booted up, I think, to the Supreme Court, the South Carolina Supreme Court. And I haven't seen any updates come out on that, but we probably should check and see if we've got anything coming out on that. All right, so now, another topic that's kind of a hot topic is what is happening on marijuana, on the marijuana bill, right? Oh my goodness. I did not know this. Okay, I just happened to flip over here. Looks like I missed this. Yes, that's right. You're listening to WCRS right here in Greenwood, South Carolina. Former Representative, this came out yesterday afternoon, former Representative R.J. May pleads guilty to sending disgusting and depraved child sex abuse videos. He could face between 5 and 20 years in prison for each of the 5 counts which he pled guilty to. How about that? Representative R.J. May told a federal judge Monday that he used an account under the name of Joe Biden 69 to send videos of children being sexually abused. May, acting as his own attorney, signed a plea agreement last week, more than 3 months after his arrest, on charges of sending child sexual abuse videos. Monday's hearing formally changed his plea from not guilty to guilty, waiving his right to a jury trial. He is in jail in the Edgefield County Jail until his sentencing hearing, which is scheduled for January 14th. The 38-year-old's plea agreement applied to 5 of the 10 videos which he was charged. The prosecutors agreed to dismiss the remaining 5 counts. Each count could bring a sentence of 5 to 20 years, along with a fine of up to $250,000, plus more than $40,000 in other fees. Federal inmates can't receive parole. A portion of the fine will go to children depicted in more than the 220 videos identified on the Kick account May said he operated. Though other cases, investigators have identified 21 of the 62 children in the videos. Many of these same videos appear in multiple cases as people trade them around. Every download re-victimizes these children and fuels this evil industry, U.S. Attorney Brian Sterling said. A federal probation officer will prepare a report recommending a sentence, but the judge, will have ultimate decision over how much prison time May serves and how much money he owes. So, if May leaves prison during his lifetime, he will spend between 5 years and the rest of his life under supervised release, which requires submitting monthly reports and following other conditions. He also will be required to register as a sex offender. As a felon, he can never again vote or hold public office. That is such a travesty to someone's life. And to think that he was in our legislature. This is just an unbelievable case. But he was a representative, pleads guilty to sending disgusting and depraved child sex abuse videos. Well, that case is finally over. That was a case that was a long time in the works, and they finally got that one done, and he has now pleaded guilty. Oh my God, such a travesty. And right here in South Carolina, this is the thing about it. This is anywhere, and it is so pervasive in our society. And yet it's the children. It is the children. 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. I also understand, although I did not know Representative R.J. May, that he was kind of a mover and shaker in the legislature. So that is a stain on South Carolina. It's a stain on the legislature. And thank God our Attorney General's office prosecuted this case, and this is a federal case because it was being sent through the lines. Just wanted you to be updated on that story. All right, so I wanted to talk about just a little bit about, we keep hearing here in South Carolina, there has been a big push about legalizing marijuana here in South Carolina. Don't know if you caught the story this morning, and I only know what I heard on WCRS this morning, but they have discovered in Europe, somewhere in Europe, how the marijuana, cannabis oils, or whatever, have really made a difference in back pain. They have seen how people have been able to sleep, get up, do their jobs and everything. This is something that they are applying for, I guess, it's not really a patent, but in Europe, and hopefully we'll bring that to the United States in a few years. All right, now, but what I wanted to talk about was where we are on marijuana legalization. And it's not really legalization, but changing the status of marijuana. The federal government has proposed moving marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 under the Controlled Substance Act. It's a historic shift, but it has not been made final yet. The process began in 2024 with hearings and public comment. The Trump Justice Department is still weighing next steps and even asked a court to delay a related lawsuit while it decides. If they do change it to a Schedule 3, and this is in the nation, it has nothing to do with what South Carolina may do, but I expect it would have an effect on what South Carolina might do as far as the legalization of it. It recognizes, if it is a Schedule 3, it would recognize medical use and lowers the regulatory classification versus a Schedule 1 versus a Schedule 2. It would not legalize recreational marijuana federally. Business taxes, Section 280E, that rule that blocks normal deductions from Schedule 1 and 2 businesses would no longer apply to cannabis. That's the single biggest near-term change for state legal operators. I believe that means they can deposit the money in the bank. I believe that's what that means, and therefore it can be taxed. Research and medical handling. Easier research, any lawful medical dispensary would still require DEA registration and prescriptions consistent with Schedule 3 rules. But this also would have reduced penalties. Under the federal law, not under our state law, but under the federal law, criminal penalties for manufacturer/distribution are lower for Schedule 3 substances than for Schedule 1 and 2. That means lower maximum sentences and fines. So rescheduling would generally reduce exposure for unauthorized trafficking offenses. But simple possession remains a federal offense unless Congress changes the law. Moving to a Schedule 3 doesn't make non-medical use legal under federal law, doesn't by itself expunge past convictions, and state laws still control in each state. So when we had Representative John McCravey, he said that he expected that medical marijuana would come up again, just like the gambling issue will probably come up in the House. Of course, he can only speak from the House because he's a member of the House. And this has been a long-fought battle. There are a lot of lobbyists, a lot of money in our state trying to get this to pass. So far, it has not. Now, if the federal law change, what it does not do, it's not a nationwide legalization of adult-use marijuana. There's no automatic pardons or expungements built into rescheduling. And no immediate change unless a final rule is issued and takes effect. Enforcement priorities can still do. But so far, HHS recommended Schedule 3 in August of 2023. The DOJ and DEA issued a proposed rule in May of 2024. They've had public comment. They've had hearings. The final decision is pending under the current administration. Here's the thing that I don't understand. Here's the thing that I don't understand. Right now, if you are stopped for driving erratically, or I guess if you were in an accident, we have a breathalyzer test for if you've been drinking alcohol. But what is the test if you've been smoking marijuana? What if you are under the influence of drugs other than that? How do they determine that? How do they determine how out of whack you are? I'm not sure that there is any national standards. There is for alcohol, but does not, that I am aware of, one that calls for that. So the DOJ has asked a federal court for more time as the administration reviews the proposal. Industry and legal groups are preparing for potential relief when a final rule lands. Bottom line, it's not a done deal yet. And that is true. But I wonder if that's going to influence what will happen here in South Carolina when they talk about medical marijuana. The reason that a lot of our legislators have not wanted to go with medical marijuana is they feel it just opens the door for recreational marijuana. And if you look at other states, you can see why they think that. Colorado, Maine. Interesting, I don't know if you caught my story the other day, but we were talking about Massachusetts. There actually is a petition being circled, being put out there for people to sign saying they don't want recreational marijuana. Now, it would not affect medical marijuana, but it would affect recreational marijuana. It is conceivable that Massachusetts, one of the most liberal states in the nation, could be doing away with recreational marijuana. Not a high probability, but I think if you were listening, I think there was like 12,700 and some signatures. Not a large amount of signatures for a small state of that, to reverse the recreational marijuana. Would this be kind of interesting? Yes, I think it would be. All right, so those are some of the issues. Let's check and see who else has called in this morning. Somebody just said, what? Oh, my goodness. Well, we don't think we can read that one on the air, so we'll pass on that one. You know, you got to keep them clean if I can read them on the air, folks. Just FYI. Just FYI. All right, somebody else just said, talk about the parade, Ed. Talk about the parade. Okay, I'm getting to the parade. All right, I would love to hear what you think about the new theme for the Greenwood Christmas parade. Here's the telephone number, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. They have gone with a red, white, and blue parade theme. Red, white, and blue parade theme. You know, we had that, what was it, Christmas Through the Colonies or something, and that one got totally bashed. So now they've come back with another theme. And again, the theme is to help celebrate America's 250, which will be a year-long celebration. So I decided to do some checking and see if there's ever been a red, white, and blue parade, right? Well, it looks like there has been one. There's been one red, white, and blue parade. Where's my information on that? I've got it right here. I think it was somewhere in Georgia, that they had a red, white, and blue parade. Let's see. What did I do with it? But it is not something that most people think of for Christmas. Now, I think, personally, this is just my personal opinion, a red, white, and blue parade for the 4th of July, now that would be cool. And of course it would be red, white, and blue parade, wouldn't it? So why not do it for that? A lot of people, I mean, there's been oodles and oodles of comments since this has been put out there as to why not do it as a just a Christmas, just Christmas? Why do we have to have a theme? And I think the reason they keep saying they have to have a theme is because they want to be able to judge it based on the theme. However, I think that at this point, the Christmas parade deserves just to be a Christmas parade. Some people want to know, why is it not just a Christmas-centered parade? Why does it have to have a theme? I believe the theme is because they want to make sure that they have some standards that they can do by. And of course, people don't have to follow along. If you just want to be part of the Christmas parade and don't want to be red, white, and blue, you do not have to be it. We'll have the Veterans Parade in November, then the Christmas Parade comes up in the first part of December. I don't know. What do you think about it? 864-332-9355. Do you think it should be a red, white, and blue theme? That is the question. Do you think it should be a red, white, and blue theme? Let's see. Somebody just commented on our new text line. There was nothing wrong with the first theme. People should stop trying to change history. History is good, bad, and bad. Colonial Christmas was about the servants at the time rather than the children. Interesting. There was a question about the sensitivity of the colonial times Christmas parade. Of course, the big thing that people need to realize, if it had been a real colonial Christmas, there would have been, I don't think, any Christmas trees. There would only be celebrating Christ in Christmas, Christ's birthday. So it was a very, very different Christmas than the extravagant Christmases that we celebrate today. However, I guess they wanted to keep that red, white, and blue theme, or to keep to a theme, so that's why they chose the red, white, and blue. What do you think? Do you think the city is barking up the wrong tree by making it a themed after the, we could call it failure for everybody to understand what they were asking about? What is your opinion? Red, white, and blue, is that a good theme for Christmas? Personally, I just don't see it as a theme for Christmas. I see it as a theme for a Veterans Parade. I see it essentially for a 4th of July parade. Now, I want to ask a question here, and I would love your response on this one. Do you think we should have a 4th of July parade? I think we should have a 4th of July parade. After all, that's the 250th anniversary of our country. There has been some discussion about not having any parade for the 4th of July. I think we need to have fife and drum bands. We need to have colonial clothing if you want. I think it should be flags, sparklers. I think it should be all of those things to celebrate our great nation. I think it wouldn't be bad. I mean, I'm just throwing this out here to have a fireworks, to do a nighttime parade and do a fireworks thing afterwards right there at the marketplace. Come on, the city of Greenwood. Let's think about how we can make the 4th of July a really big parade. And let's let our Christmas parade just be a Christmas parade. Just let the dance groups do what they want to do. Let all the groups that get out there, the teams, the bands, let's just do a Christmas parade instead of trying to make it red, white, and blue. Of course, they needed to make that decision on a theme because we need for people to try to get along to the theme. The other thing about the Greenwood Parade, even though they have a theme, back in the day, I'm just going to say, back in the day, 5 years, 10 years ago, I don't know, they used to do like movie themes and this type of thing, Christmas movies, and I think people really tried to do it. Anymore, what I'm seeing at the Christmas parade is a few do to the theme, most just do their own thing. So, is a theme truly necessary for the Christmas parade? That is just my question. 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. I am not sure we actually need a theme for the Christmas parade. Love to get your input on the legacy line. On the legacy line, we would love to hear from you. Also, 864-229-7984. If you've got a comment, a text, you can send me a text. You can also call, but I won't get it until after the show if you call and leave it on the legacy line. So have there been anything coming in? Nope, I don't see anybody. So everybody's commenting on our new line. We're making the switch. 864-332-9355. Anyways, my opinion on the Christmas parade is let's go ahead and just have a Christmas parade. That's what it's going to turn out to be anyways, right? People are not going to probably honor the red, white, and blue. However, how many of you think we should have a 4th of July parade? The week before the barbecue festival? Heck yeah. Fireworks that night? Heck yeah. Have a nighttime parade, get lights and have red, white, and blue flags. And if you want to go with a colonial, if we can get a drum and fife corps to come in and play. All those things would just be so cool to make for something really unique for the celebration. And after all, a parade is for everybody. A parade is for everybody. Our veterans should march in the parade. I mean, we should have everybody for our 4th of July parade. So far, I haven't seen much enthusiasm for doing a 4th of July parade. So that's why I'm asking 864-332-9355. Yeah, somebody just said, who cares about a parade, Ann? Let me see. What are they saying here? What are they saying? I can't believe this. Let me get to this. People are already responding. What do you need a parade for anyways? Because a parade is part of our history. Parades have always been big. I hope I'm not going to get stunked on a 4th of July parade. I think we need a 4th of July parade. That actually is the anniversary of our country. And a red, white, and blue, of course, would be the theme of that parade. Do you think, though, to get back to my original question, that a Christmas parade with red, white, and blue, is anybody actually going to do the theme, or are they just going to be out there just doing whatever they want for a theme? That's the problem. That's the problem. If you don't have a good theme, then people are not going to actually support doing the theme. So I just wanted to bring that up. Of course, you can think about it and comment back. 864-332-9355. That's 864-332-9355. So that's about the Christmas parade. Now, I do have a couple of reminders this afternoon on Meet Me at the Diner. We've got two great guests that are going to be joining us right here on WCRS. We are going to have, let's see, what are we going to have? We are going to have two gals from Self are going to be with us, and we are going to be talking about home health at Self Regional, what they do. So if you are if you are interested in home health, if you'd like to know what services are available, you definitely need to tune in this afternoon because we are going to have Elizabeth White and Amy Lowe, is that right? Amy Lowe. Home Health Outreach Liaison is Amy Lowe, and Elizabeth White is the Director of Home Health Services. We're going to be talking about what home health really is, what's the difference in the type of services. If you have a question, of course, you can call or text 864-332-9355. This is going to be a most interesting conversation about what they do in home health, the services that are available. So please tune in. That's at 5 o'clock this afternoon. So it's going to be interesting. And they now are, I think I read that Self Regional's home health care is now one of the largest in the state. They have just merged with a couple of others to be able to make their services more comprehensive and cover a larger area. So that is very, very cool. Tune in this afternoon to learn more about that. Also, coming up tomorrow is the Veteran Stand Down, and that is from 9 to 1 at Emmanuel Lutheran Church, 501 East Cresswell Avenue, right there in Greenwood. This is important for two reasons. Number one, we have a lot of veterans out there that just don't realize all the services that they can get. So without having any services, they may be passing up things. This program right here will help any veteran get the services that they need. So that is 501 East Cresswell at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. That is tomorrow from 9 to 1. They say if you know a veteran that's in need of some services, whether they're anywhere from job training, housing, legal, medical, rent, utilities, handicap access, that's a big one for some of our people. Eyeglasses, employment, education, addiction, getting your VA card, getting enrolled in the VA with all the services that it has, getting a DD-214. If you know a veteran that is not got their DD-214, bringing them there. They will have people from the state all around. All these services will be right there in one place. And it says, if you don't need help, please bring a veteran that does. Family members, if you have a veteran that needs help, but they're just not getting the job done and there's nobody else that can bring them, take a family member. Got son, daughter, wife, in-law. Take these veterans, male or female veterans, to the stand down tomorrow, October 1st, from 9 to 1 at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. Help them get the services that they need. They also will be doing free haircuts and have a free lunch for everybody. They're going to be giving out free hygiene kits. They're going to have everything from underwear to jackets to help. So please, this is a big, big advantage, and Greenwood decided to do this. The American Legion and some of our other services have come together to put this on. They realized there's in Greenville, I think there might be one in Augusta, probably Columbia, but there was nothing in this area. So there is no residency requirements. As long as you are in this area, they will help you any way they can. Please make sure you go there tomorrow from 9 to 1 at Emmanuel Lutheran Church. This is for our veterans. So please help if you can on that, of getting somebody there. That, I believe, is... that is, I believe, what I have to say for today. I have had several comments come in on should we be having a 4th of July parade. Absolutely. Why not? Of course, I've had half a dozen comments come in. I hope the city of Greenwood, our Uptown Development Group, Uptown Greenwood there, is listening so that they will know that people want to have a 4th of July parade. I realize that that would come right on the heels of the Festival of Discovery. But you're already getting the roads closed off. You're already doing all this stuff anyways. You might as well just let people come out and celebrate in a big way the Christmas, like we do a Christmas parade, but have a 4th of July parade on the 4th of July. I wonder when. When is the 4th of July? What day of the week is it? I don't even know. I'll have to check that out. I'm not going to try to do it right now. But celebrating our country is an important thing. Celebrating the fact that we have made it 250 years is amazing. And of course, right there on the White House, they'll be having building the big fight pavilion or whatever to have the AF's, whatever it is, the fight, Dana White's group and everything will be there. People are getting all excited about going to this. So is that Americana? I think so. Is that Americana? Yes. Is having a parade Americana? Did you grow up having a 4th of July parade? I did. We always thought, oh, this is really dumb. But we did it anyways, and it was an opportunity to show off. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. Let's see. We just got another comment here. Yes, what's this one say? Yes. Oh, it's a Saturday. Is that what you're saying? Saturday? Yes, okay. 4th of July is on a Saturday. No wonder they don't want to do it. It's a Saturday. That's a perfect day to have a 4th of July parade. Now, I'm going to start the drum beat on this. The drum beat. Boom, 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 boom. We need a 4th of July parade. I'll be the most hated person in Greenwood. What? I already am? I didn't know that. This is WCRS Radio. I am Ann Eller. I want to hear from you. Do you think we should have a 4th of July parade? Please let me know. Make your voices heard so that the city of Greenwood will make the proper preparations for a 4th of July parade. And yes, the people that work for the city will have to work on that Saturday. I'm sorry. It's 250 years. Let's get it together, folks. All right. What about the Christmas parade? Let me know what you think of red, white, and blue. Lots of comments coming in on that. Some positive, some what the heck, and what happened to just a good old Christmas parade. That's going to do it for me. Make sure you tune in this afternoon at 5 o'clock for Meet Me at the Diner. We're going to be talking about Self Regional's home health care program, what it can do for you, and what maybe you didn't understand it does. So that's going to do it for me. Let's cue the end of the sign here. Show end. Have a great day. This is WCRS Radio. Take it away. Bye-bye, everybody.